Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have David Roberts, CEO of Verra Mobility. David, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jill.
You got it. And Verra Mobility is a leader in smart mobility technology. Tell us about the company and what you do for customers.
Yeah, great. And again, thanks for having me. So we are a leader in smart mobility, which our purpose is to enrich lives by making mobility safer and easier. So we have a portfolio of businesses that operate globally in over 17 countries around the world, where we're helping, whether that's cities or universities or commercial fleets, address the challenges of mobility. Maybe to double click on that just a little bit, to give some more context around it. So in North America, we're the #1 provider of automated enforcement, where we work with large cities on changing driver behavior to make it safer to drive around those cities. We're also and ran a toll. We were actually a part of that journey. And just recently, we did an acquisition last year of a company called T2, where we work with universities on providing software and hardware for their solution challenges around parking. So that's everything from how you manage the parking, the access controls to that, the payments of that, and even the enforcement of the parking violations. So a broad set of solutions that we operate in globally.
So David, who are your customers? You had mentioned governments. Who are some of the others?
Yeah, so we work with large cities, so that could be cities like New York City or Chicago or DC, or even globally, we work with places like Melbourne and New South Wales and London. Here on the commercial fleet side, we work principally with rental car companies, so Hertz and Avis and Enterprise are some of our large customers. But we also work with fleet management companies, so companies like Element, where they're managing vehicles on behalf of other companies. We're providing both tolling and violations and registration access for them. And then universities, probably 50% of the major universities in the United States use our parking solutions.
What are some of the trends impacting the smart mobility market, and how do you see Verra Mobility playing in the future of transportation?
Yeah, great question. It's a really exciting space to be in, because when you just take some of the themes that you may hear just in the market around things like autonomous. Now, autonomous vehicles is going to be a long time coming. We don't think it's going to happen in the next 2 or 3 years. But places like cities have to think about, what am I going to do in a world with autonomous vehicles running around? Where are they going to park? And how are we going to charge them? Because they're most likely going to be electric. And where will we store them when they're not being used? And what impact does that have on congestion and the environment? Those are all real questions that our customers are starting to think about now. So we're excited to be helping them shape that future. Probably the next most important is in connected. So all vehicles now are connected in some way, shape, or form. But as we move around the maturity curve, they're going to be more and more connected to the infrastructure. So your vehicle will be able to connect to a traffic light, for instance, and that the city can use that information to redirect or optimize traffic based upon speaking directly to your vehicle. Probably by far the most common right now is electric. Electric vehicles are obviously very, very popular. The big question is, where do we charge them all? There's not enough charging to meet the demand. And so a lot of the infrastructure bill has been applied to help that happen. And then ultimately shared vehicles. The future of where people are no longer going to own their vehicle, but using a shared, something like an Uber or a Lyft, that's going to continue to expand. We think fleets are going to get more and more shared in the future. And what does that mean to our fleet owners as well as to our cities and universities?
What made Verra Mobility one of the few SPAC success stories?
Yeah, well, I would love to say it's brilliant management, but it's probably just because we have a great business. We have a great business with a bright future. And what I mean by that is that we have great customers that we've been serving for up to almost 20 years in some cases. And because of that, we have revenue and we generate really, really robust, strong cash flow. And while I think many of the other SPACs that probably came out prior to having really sort of beachhead customers that they were going to be serving, we had already established that. So we had done a lot of M&A up until that point. We had great customers. We were growing already. So we were probably a SPAC that was a very traditional business that just happened to go public via SPAC versus a business that was hoping to catch traction once it became public.
And David, you had mentioned employees before making the company successful. Verra Mobility earned the Great Place to Work certification. What makes the culture and vision unique at the company?
Yeah, we love our people. We have 3 strategic pillars that we focus on every single year. One is to drive our core business outcomes. Two is to build the Verra Mobility of the future. And the third one, and maybe most important, is to create an engaging and fulfilling workplace. It really matters to us to create a space where our employees can feel like they are the best people doing their best work. So we want to take people to advance them in their careers, give them really hard problems to solve, and let that to be a real sort of catapult for their career, whether that's inside the business or not. But we also try to surround it by values to show that we actually care about these people. We want a high level of diversity and inclusion, and we want to make sure that we're just creating this wonderful space for people to feel welcome.
Yeah, and I want to wrap up with the point that you had made earlier about having the infrastructure to support the EV strategies and outlooks that are out there. I mean, it's happening right now. So where do you see the longer term growth opportunities for Verra Mobility, and what's your outlook for the overall industry?
Yeah, I mean, the overall industry that we are in two markets, what we call urban mobility and connected fleets broadly. Kind of our portfolio of businesses sit within those markets. Those combined are a $63 billion total available market and growing at probably over 10% globally. So we think overall it's going to be great. What you would say related to your question on electric is there's going to be all sorts of really unique solution sets that are going to come out to sort of solve the problem of electric charging. Clearly, a lot of that will be in sort of the gas station concept, but really cities are going to start to look at things like parking meters as EV charging, as an example, or you might start to see more mobile charging units that are being deployed by either fleets or their partners or even within cities to sort of address the fact that right now there's just not enough capacity to fill the vehicles that are being bought and deployed within these cities.
All right, David, appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Yeah, thank you.